Be sure to set up your Inventor project before you do any CAD work. You may need to create the Inventor project. You should know how to do that. Or you may need to just navigate to the Inventor project file and open it, and that will set an existing Inventor project as the active project. What we're doing in this video is working with the Revolve tool. We're going to make this three-dimensional object, which we're calling an angled flange, and we're going to start with a 2D sketch like this, create a work axis here, and then revolve this 2D sketch around this work axis to get this three-dimensional structure. So let's start by making a new part, and I'm going to sketch on the XY plane. I'm going to do everything for now in the first quadrant, so I'm going to move over into the first quadrant and work here. I hold down the scroll wheel and move over to pan to do this. This is panning. Let's go back to the assignment, and we just need to draw this two-dimensional object. So we're going to start at the origin right here and move out and make a line that's 0.5 inches in length at an angle of 30 degrees with respect to the horizontal. And then we'll continue working our way around here. So let's start. The first line will start at the origin. It's 0.5 inches in length. So let me scroll in a little bit so I can see it better. And you can see that the angle is highlighted. So I'm going to put in 30 degrees and tab back over to the distance, and that looks okay. So I'm going to left click, and now I want to move over here and make a line perpendicular to that line that is 0.25 inches. And as I move over here, I move until I see the perpendicular glyph, which is behind the 0.152 there, but you can see it. So that distance is going to be 0.25. So I'll tab back over to let it stretch out and get to its right length, and left click, and I'll continue along here. Let's go back to the sketch. That is 0.068 is the next distance, so let's get that at 90 degrees. You can see the little perpendicular glyph there. 0.068, tab, left click, and I'm going to come down this way 0.125, 0.125, tab, left click, and I can come back here. As you can see, that's what we want to do here, making this line. This line isn't specified in the drawing, but we can infer what it is because it comes down and it matches up with the first line, and it's perpendicular to, there we go, it's perpendicular to the preceding line, and Inventor is smart enough to know that I want to go back to that particular location. You can see it tries to think and anticipate what I want to do. So I can left click here, and then I can come home. It'll pop green. That means I'm coincident with that first point, and this will be a closed two-dimensional sketch. So left click, right click, OK. And you can see that we're fully constrained down here, so we're ready to revolve this. So let's come over here, and we're told that we want to make a work axis here, which is 0.75 inches from the origin, or this corner. So to do that, we'll come up here to this button, and if you hover over it, you'll see that it says construction. So left click, line, and I'll just plop it down anywhere. You kind of want to avoid choosing a place that Inventor is suggesting, because that'll tie it. It'll make a constraint to something. So I just come out here, away from everything, left click, and move until it's vertical. You can see that it is vertical with a little glyph at the bottom there. So left click, right click, OK. When I use construction features, unless I'm going to be making a bunch of them, I immediately turn it off so that I don't make construction lines and circles and sketches when I want object lines. Alright, now we need to move this. I believe this distance from here to here is 0.75. So there we go. And there's a button down here that you can press. It's called Show All Degrees of Freedom. If you're not completely constrained, as you can see we aren't down in the lower right, it'll give you some indication of what's wrong. And here it's telling us that we haven't told Inventor the length of this line, and that's why it says 2 dimensions needed. We don't really need to have that, but generally we want to try to have a fully constrained sketch here. Maybe I will fully constrain it just to see if we can do that, get it fully constrained. So that's the length, and now it just wants to know the distance, not that one, this one. And again, we absolutely do not need these for this thing to work, but I'm adding them just because I want this to be fully constrained. And again, it would work without doing that because the construction line is just, it's not integral to the part here. All we need is a vertical line. We don't care how vertically tall it is. At any rate, we're now ready to finish the sketch, and we can choose Revolve. Since there's only one closed two-dimensional sketch, it'll choose that one, and the axis is already highlighted, and so I can choose the axis here, and I've got this 3D part, which it's not obvious how you might do this without the Revolve tool. And so if I come over here, first I'm going to save it. Let's see, yeah, I think I'll save it. And I think this was angled flange, but as always, check the assignment sheet. Okay, so we have our part here. We have the browser here. I'm going to make the browser skinnier so that I can fit more stuff in here. And if I come here, right click, iProperties, Physical, and then hit update, you can see that my volume is 0.424, and I believe that's the correct volume. Now the challenge here, when I ask you to turn things in showing the browser with the named file, with your name there, the part itself, and the volume, the challenge is to squeeze everything in, so I am going to attempt to do that. So I'm just going to grab there, and I get this image which shows me that you've gotten the correct volume, you got the part there, and then it's yours because your name is up here. So that is a simple example of the Revolve tool.